Ladies and gentlemen, Burning Man is on fire. Or no, it's supposed to be on fire. Burning Man is wet and muddy and full of mud and slime.
And Ebola.
And maybe Ebola, I don't know. Probably. There's probably people going there who right now would normally be riding like a unicycle in a Speedo that's kind of decorated like my jacket and whatever, and juggling and talking about saving the earth, who works in a gain-of-function lab somewhere, cooking up stuff for the Pentagon or a Raytheon or something. I bring them up too much. Lockheed Martin. Somebody. Because that's the big thing. That's the thing everybody says about Burning Man, and of course they're correct about it, because, see, as much as there's this idea that, like, you just pack your van up and go to Woodstock. Maybe you could sell some beads along the way to make a little gas money, peddle your wife's 19-year-old ass for a sandwich, whatever you gotta do. And you get there, man, and, like, whatever. And they're like, oh, cool. And it's like, yeah, everything now, it's like that mythos is alive, but everything is so expensive that anybody that does anything has a lot of money. And anybody that's doing anything that's telling you that, like, oh, it's all about just this or that or whatever, like, they probably, like, work for whichever tech company is data mining you to sell to someone who's eventually going to use that to, like, upload your image onto a thing and then tell you that you're not the real version, the computer version's real, and kill you. It's like the people who are engineering the cyberpunk apocalypse and getting paid to do it are also pretending, like, yeah, but I buy Tom's shoes, and for every pair I buy, they donate a pair to someone who needs shoes somewhere. And you're like, well, then I guess it was okay that we, like, bombed this trade route so you guys could get more fucking lithium ion for your Teslas. Whatever. Now, let me start by saying that at this point, I would like to join the evil crusades of darkness because there's really no fighting them. There's either John Wheeler dies with all of you. There's three things. There's that, and then he'll consider himself a failure. We're saved by AI, or everybody kind of dies, but I weasel my way into a position where, like, they hand one of you who I used to go like, oh, I agree with your anarcho-communist ideals or whatever, but then you find yourself blindfolded and kneeling over like a pit full of other dead people, and someone's handing me a gun and asking me to make a choice. Yeah, you're fucking dead. Like, I'm just going for like, whatever, just oh no, I'll join them in the pit because I really believe in what that shoe company was doing with its donations. Yeah, no thanks. Like, I will live in the guard tower while other people live in a giant ivory tower. But I'm also a bit of a Jafar. I'll end up in that ivory tower towards the end, and then they'll discover what I'm up to. I'll be beheaded. Don't worry. It just won't be next to you. And it'll be years later. I will get an honorable beheading, joining them rather than beating them, trying to beat them, and then getting killed. But I think that's a much more interesting narrative than standing up for what you believe in, which is probably stupid, and then getting your head blown off in a trench. So, I say that just because I want to set the record, like, a little bit straight. Like, would I prefer to live in a world that was not horribly evil? I would love to live in the Star Trek world. I want to get that right, out of the way. The thing is, though, is we live in ours, and there's probably a route to the Star Trek world. And it might even be some sort of AGI, or ASI, I would say. There's artificial general intelligence, which they think would eventually give way to artificial superintelligence. We'll make something that has 130 IQ, and it's like a really smart person, and then there's like a bunch of them, and then they start working together, and then they make something smarter than them, and then that thing makes something, and whatever that is, we won't even understand. It'll be like one of those later episodes of Aeon Flux, and there's a deep cut. But if depending on which way things go, whether it considers itself a part of our continuum or it decides to be rid of us, we cannot say. But if it decides that it's, like, for the betterment of mankind and living in harmony with everything, like, yeah, it could make that happen. And I feel like that's the only way. We are wet-wired absolutely just to kill each other. Like, anyone that believes anything's getting any better just on its own merits, like, it's better than it was in the 1200s, and it's better than maybe even it was in the 50s, but people's nature is just terrifying. And that's what gets me with the whole, like, we're gonna go commune. Like, is there a Make-A-Wish Foundation for Burning Man? You know what I mean?
There might be after
Is there
this
a thing where it's like, okay, the trust fund kids can only afford to, like, do whatever they want, but they don't have their own money to really give anyone else. But it's like the tech and the pharma bros, and let's be honest, everyone that would have been going to that fire festival on that island or whatever, they're the same people that go to Burning Man. Don't you dare tell me that just because it's like, well, they weren't wearing like white shorts and like a linen button-up shirt. They're like wearing like an Inspector Gadget propeller hat and playing a saxophone with fire coming out of it. It's like, oh, that's different people. Like, no, it's just one of those things. You dress to go see Blink-182, and the other one you dress to be like on acid out in a fucking desolate field or whatever, pretending you're a tank girl or whatever it is that they do, to reach some sort of spiritual enlightenment before going, back to work at some sort of company that's like strip mining the core of the earth or like whatever, or lobbying Congress to go to war so they can build more of whatever it is that they build. And they're like, well, it's it's for the betterment of mankind. And I don't know. And I'm talking a lot of shit right now. Like, I wasn't particularly excited to hear that the whole thing got flooded out and that everyone's stranded and they're fucking...
There are a couple people that, like, I know on Facebook that are actually cool people that went. So it's kind of like, well, I hope nothing happens to them and they get out fine. But I think they're smart enough people to get out and be fine.
That's the thing. I believe that it's enough of a filter that, like, if you deserve to get out, maybe you will. And, yeah, for those that don't know... Burning Man's in this dusty part of northern Nevada that gets like 0% rain, like for
it's
years.
The desert.
Like, and if it gets rain, like you can't drive like an M1 Abrams or a monster truck. Like you can't drive anything out there. You would just sink. The craziest vehicles that the American military has ever dreamed up. Any of them that don't fly couldn't even drive. Out there and whatever.
The only way they're getting out of there is helicopters, basically.
And it's like 40,000 people or some crazy
70,000.
70,000, okay.
Also, there's only one road in and out, and it is completely flooded.
It seems like a good idea in general to put yourself in harm's way like that. I mean, I get it, and it's like if you don't have the grapes to like fly to like Central America or something, it's like do something like this. It's like a little risky just because it's like you can't get medical attention if something goes wrong or whatever. But let's see. Do we remember when Burning Man started? I feel like it was, 40 years ago? Or was it more like 20?
Fuck if I know.
I don't know. I don't know how long it's been a thing. But I make a lot of fun because there's a lot of people online that have been talking shit about this, and just the amount of people that just pipe up and be like, hey, you shouldn't make fun. You shouldn't make fun. People could really get hurt. Well, so far only one person has died, and that's like less than usual. Like, I know someone who I actually kind of, not a close friend, but I've talked to him and I like him. His name is Bob Lamb. He goes by the goddamn Bob Lamb, and I like that. And he's like one of those fire flow artist people that Alexis met a bunch of. And like, he's a real cool guy, and he goes like every year or whatever. And he was telling me one time when I was at a thing that he was also at, that they do the big Burning Man thing. They do the giant effigy or whatever, and it used to be like the size of maybe just a person, and they'd light it on fire, and like 10 hippies would be like, woo! Now it's this like huge, it's like the size of the Statue of Liberty or something, and at the very end they like burn it down, and it's just like, everybody cheers when it finally gets to the point where it like collapses or whatever, and it's just like, yes, like, and there's security guards in place just to keep people on drugs and crazy people from getting too close to it or whatever like that. But Bob said he saw one time that because you couldn't even see it if you were on the wrong side or whatever. Like, it's such a big, huge area with so many people. But this guy was like dead bound and determined to go run into the fire. Like, he'd probably been planning his suicide or like whatever. And so like he like football highlight reel dodges like all these security guards and stuff. Like goes like between their legs, over their shoulders, around, whoop, this way, that way, woo, like around, just gets around him and just bolts into it where they finally can't follow and it gets too hot. And the minute he disappears into it was like the same second the whole thing fell. So like everybody started cheering and then the people that saw what happened though were all like, oh my God, and they're like really harsh, they're mellow or whatever. But the thing that I like about Bob is that I kind of floated like, but that guy, he was like, people were really upset that everyone else was cheering because they couldn't see it. But they're like, that makes this moment seem so terrible. It's people who haven't experienced anything real in their life because they're all children of millionaires, so that's why they're there. But like, it's like pop punk bands. It's why all the albums, they don't sound like Rage Against the Machine usually, do they? It's all like, well, we named our band after our small town, and all the songs are about the one relationship I was in that didn't work out so well. That is the extent of my life experience. Didn't grow up in the streets looking for my meals, or nobody's playing the harmonica on one of those. But fucking Bob, at least, like, because we were around some other people, and I was like, well, maybe that's what was supposed to happen. And then everyone was like, kind of looking at me. I mean, they were already kind of unhappy with me, I'm sure. But like, yeah, like, this guy wanted to do this really bad. That was his exit strategy. Maybe he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he's like, I'm booking it. I'm going to take a bunch of amphetamines and just run from the cops into this thing. And that's just how he needed to go. And it truly was a beautiful thing. And Bob's like, I like to think of it like that, actually, too. Yeah, and it's like, see, so I might feel a little bit bad if he's stuck there. But again, like you mentioned, the people that might have their head on their shoulders a little bit might.
Well, yeah, especially since they're like, it's probably gonna rain. You know, okay, well, I'll pack extra food.
They were warned, too. They were like, we think it's gonna rain a lot. We guarantee that it's not gonna rain 0. We're telling you that right now. If it rains any more than 0 at all, this is going to be a life-threatening nightmare situation. Also, though, there's a good chance it will rain more than that, but for sure it's going to rain some, and some is enough to wreck everything. And everyone was still just like, but it's my whole identity. And it's like, that's not going to stop anybody. And this is around the time where, again, I keep doing this voice and I keep being like, what, do I have a chip on my shoulder about, festy people? Yes, I do. And part of it is because I had my world rocked the other day. I don't know if everyone here knows what a wook is, right? It's a person that's this kind of druggy hippie. Like American Dad has mentioned it. Like they made fun, like Haley and Steve were following fish around or something and selling these like grilled cheese sandwiches that were changing people's lives, and Roger tried to take advantage of it somehow, and turns out he was Jerry Garcia. I don't know, whatever happens in American Dad. But even they were like, oh no, wooks. And then they kind of like befriended the wooks, and they're, I don't know. There's these smelly EDM jam band hippie follower.
I'll tell you what a wook is. You want to know what a wook is?
Well, let me. We'll get into that in a second, because it's going to be Exhibit A in a longer case I'm making.
See, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, no. It's like, what is a juggalo? I don't know. See, they have the decency to explain it right in their song. He walks into his house with a 40 at his butt cheeks, or whatever. That insane Clown Posse song I love so much. Mm-hmm. Well, fuck if I know. But I always thought, and this isn't me being a Minnesota person, because fucking Wookiefoot is from here, and they're an awful electronic-infused jam band thing that thinks they invented the black light, and just, it's just, I wore this jacket for them.
I think you had to deal with him enough personally to
I did
have this opinion. So
I do. Okay. A lot of my opinions when I talk about how rotten something is or how evil Goldman Sachs is, I'm just kind of parroting talking points off the internet, the same way you're doing in the comments right now. But I've done like Wookiefoot's sound and stuff like that, and it's so pretentious. But of course it is. Because it's like, you have to have a pretty big trust fund to follow this shit around. You have to have a huge one to start one of these things. And it was fucking beyond apparent that that's the deal. And it's like, yeah, man, we're just like laid back, but they're these just vicious fucking corporate. So people in other places, like even when I was at Chromeo at Red Rocks, there's this awful thing called Hot Chip opening for him, which had a bunch of people like getting their hands in my face because we were in assigned seats, but they just had to feel it. They had to feel it, and Alexa's just not gotten to fight with somebody.
John. They were feeling it.
Nobody feels anything like that. They're just putting on a show to make other people think they have feelings. People are just awful, broken provider modules or whatever. But I snuck backstage when the thunderstorm happened. There's a whole story with the Chromeo Red Rocks thing. But I wound up backstage because I stood in row 0 for a second to get out of the rain but it was all just like disabled people, and it wasn't hot chicks like in other things. But like they ushered me back. They're like, come on, go. And I'm like, okay. I was just cutting through there to go to the bathroom. But anyway, I ended up talking to this kid that was like this long-haired, but kid, probably late 20s. I don't know. But like this long-haired guy. And he was like, oh, you're from Minneapolis? I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I saw Chromeo at First time years ago, and one of my favorite things. And he's like, oh, did you ever go to Shangri-La? And I was like, what is that? Because once again, throwing it back to ICP, they mentioned Shangri-La a lot, But it's not. It has something. It's the Wookiefoot's thingamabob. Like, I should know what that is. And I was like, oh no, yeah, though I do know who Wookiefoot is. Yeah. And this kid, you would describe him as a Wook. And I started hearing that phrase, so I'm like, okay, a Wookiefoot that word has to come from like a Wookiefoot fan, but then it grew beyond that, right? I'm not claiming that they're only referring to that fandom, like a Juggalo or whatever. But what I am putting out there is that those like grimy EDM hippie festival people, it just was like, well, the Wookiefoot fans were just enough of a good enough descriptor. I just started calling them all Wooks. And then somebody at work told me that no, it's not connected at all. Like, Wookiefoot is this thing, and yeah, Wooks like Wookiefoot, but that doesn't make every Wook a Wookiefoot, or whatever. Like,
a Wookiefoot?
How many Wooks would a Wookiefoot
yeah, exactly, that's the...
If Fook could Fook.
Thank you, John.
If fuck foo. And...
you said exactly what I was just trying to say.
Well, good. We worked that out. But, so, like... But apparently it's not a thing. And it's like, the guy telling me this would absolutely know. But I wonder if, like, the data is corrupted. That's my thing. Where it's like, okay, maybe it started as that and it changed, but it came from there. Because otherwise, what is, like, okay. You'll tell me what a Wook is, but I want to know the etymology of the word.
Well, we're going to eventually get there, probably.
I doubt this article will answer, but please read it.
Well, here's the answer as of 2023. According to EDMSauce.com. I know it is right now.
Okay, all right.
What is a Wook? All you need to know. With slang and new words being created daily, it's tough to keep up with the times.
Oh, those kids.
Especially when a term like Wook is bandied frequently with drug culture references. But have no fear.
Drug culture.
We're here to set the record straight and tell you everything there is to know about the Wook lifestyle.
Okay.
So what is a Wook? In short, a Wook is someone who loves music festivals, particularly those with
you should
jam bands.
aim your whole self so your face is naturally...
Jam bands.
There we go. Yeah.
Hi there.
You just read under it. There you go.
Or electronic dance music, but it's more
EDM,
than just...
as the kids in the drug culture call it.
Yes, but it's more than just that.
Oh, well, what else is there? I thought it was just about drugs and maybe music.
Being a Wook also entails a certain sense of fashion, musical taste, and drug use. Here's a more in-depth look at what it means to be a Wook.
So nice of them to put drug use third like that, as if it's not the main thing.
So a Wook is a person who's deeply involved in the subculture surrounding the jam band or hippie music scene. Wookiefoot.
Yeah, but... Okay, keep going, though, because, yeah, that describes that. But, again, I was told very much that it's just a coincidence that they're called that.
So, for many, being a Wook is more than just listening to music. It's a lifestyle. Wooks often travel in groups. Camp at
Everyone
festivals.
travels in groups. What the fuck is this thing saying? Have you never played Oregon Trail? There's nobody travels. Those people are called drifters.
They wig out.
And they usually end up in jail.
Wig out, in parentheses, on dance floors.
So it's about more than just music. It's also about traveling around and dancing to music. Like,
this is the stupidest thing. If you're a Wook, I'm so sorry. Like,
I'm not. Get a job.
Stupid.
What the fuck is this about?
Why would they get a job? They have a trust fund.
It's going to run out someday because you're going to make friends with someone like me who swindles you.
Musical taste, Wooks tend to gravitate towards music heavy on the improvisation and often psychedelic sound.
Cool.
Jam bands, Grateful Dead, Fish, Widespread Panic are all favorites among Wooks.
Keep going.
Fashion. Wooks often dress in bohemian style, with flowy dresses and skirts for women and tie-dye shirts and shorts for men.
So they can't call them
Many
hippies?
Wooks also have long hair. As of 2023, they're Wooks, John.
Okay, but...
Long hair and often worn in dreadlocks or braids.
Yeah?
Can we say that these are white people?
Well, no fucking shit, these are white people. No black people are doing this. Like, are you insane? These are people that, by the way, when I say that too, and you're imagining maybe it's still a little bit of a Burger King commercial from the 80s in your head, These people do not have one black friend. Or they do, but that guy is not going with him. He knows better than that. You imagine if there was just groups of traveling, like actual just black people with dreadlocks and tie-dye shirts just going around the country wigging out on the dance floor? They'd never be seen again. Have you been to America?
Holy shit. Well, the last thing is the drug use. Wooks are often associated with drugs, particularly psychedelic drugs like LSD and mushrooms. Well, not all Wooks use drugs. Those who do often use them to enhance their music and dancing experience.
This is better than Dear Asshole.
Origin and history.
Okay, origin, and they better goddamn explain the name.
Wook, being difficult to track, is speculated that it first came out in the mid-2000s.
Oh, in the Midwest in the mid-2000s when Wookiefoot was becoming one of the biggest, like, new jam band things.
The word's first use was most likely online forums or message boards, and they're popular among ravers and EDM fans at the time.
Could you say any less about this? What a fucking paragraph that was. Like, well, no one knows why, but it probably came from the internet.
Yeah, these online communities were full of slang terms and inside jokes that only those involved in the scene would understand.
Now, which is full of only straightforward talk.
Oh, give me a fucking break. The term wook most likely came about to describe someone new to the rave scene who didn't quite understand the culture or etiquette yet.
Okay.
However, the term has been taken on more negative connotation over time. Nowadays, a wook is generally used to describe
describing a negative
who's considered annoying, obnoxious, or disruptive at rave or music festival.
Okay. Probably like anyone who is super into Wookiefoot would probably be. Like,
what is the difference between a hippie and a wook?
Wookiefoot wrote this article. That is now what I've figured out. I'm sorry, by the way, I didn't mean to make fun of everyone going to Burning Man and maybe who drowned in the fucking thing the horse sank in the Neverending Story or whatever happened to you guys out there. It was a thin preface to complain about Wookiefoot, who is probably at Burning Man right now and hopefully they're dead. What's a canker?
Someone who uses crystal meth.
Or a cranker? Oh, well, yeah. Like someone who's on crank. What's a beatnik?
What's a beatnik? What's the hippie motto?
What was the hippie motto?
Make love, not war. Peace, love, and understanding, man.
Hey, what's so wrong with a little peace, love, and understanding?
Why is this on the thing? Like, frequently asked questions.
What's so wrong about a little peace, love, and understanding? Yeah. Frequently asked questions by nobody other than the FBI, I guess.
Well, this article was useless, but thank you for letting us make fun of people.
Yeah. Again, I know Wookiefoot wrote that album. No one really knows where the name came from. And this goes deep, but I actually feel like I have to waste some of my life figuring this out because the fact that it's so clearly etymologically, there's like deadheads. They follow the Grateful Dead. Yeah. Fish heads. Well, is it going to be Wookie head? No, because it's already Wookie foot. Well, what if we're called Wookie feet? No, that's the band's name. They're Wookie foot. You can't be Wookie feet unless you're in the band. How about Wookie foot heads? Like, okay, that's real stupid.
Someone asked if Wook is a slur.
Goddamn dirty Wooks. Yeah. It's like a slur on some weird Star Wars planet, They're just like... Jabba doesn't like it since the Wook started taking over down the street. Like, they're there with the Schmicks.
Yes.
McCormick and Schmicks. That restaurant that's partially a slur, I think.
Yes. Maybe even a hotel.
Whatever it is.
I don't know.
Either way, Schmicks need not apply. Schmicks and Wooks can wait out in the alley. But it cannot be. Right, so they're trying to come up with it, it's like Wookie Foothead, no. So it'd just be Wook. That's what it would be. And then it caught on, and it didn't catch on fun. Like, again, I'll steer this back to Juggalos. Honestly, if you had to do, like, an opinion poll, at least for anybody that didn't go, what? If you asked most of America, like, do you have a positive general feeling about Juggalos? Somewhat agree. Very much agreed. Not sure. Agree. Strongly agree. People would kind of agree, I think, that Juggalos are kind of fun. They stand up for what's probably kind of right, at least through, like, their kind of dirty lens. But they're, like, sort of this, like, underclass of people that are very accepting. you know, everything I've ever learned about like Blue Felix playing at the Gathering of the Juggalos is like they're kind of like, as long as you weren't like, you know, trying to pander to them in a really phony way, and you were just another freak, they kind of accept you. Like, and that someone else once said, I keep dialing this back and back and back, but actually I think it was Sadie made an excellent point an ex of mine years ago about how like she had like only sort of listened to metal, but ended up hanging out with more metalheads because in a turn of what you'd expect, metalheads are usually pretty nice and hippies are really mean, at least in comparison. And that was where I started to learn there was like, yeah, metalheads tend to just be whoever, and they just decided to be a metalhead. Now they might come from all different class backgrounds, I don't really know, but like hippies were just always trust fund kids. They're always fucking mean. Like, they always were like, we're all about peace, man. But they'd be really, like, aggressive and rude and stiff with you. Like, they had parents that taught them.
I think Always Sunny made an entire episode about that.
I think they probably. Yeah, they definitely did. And Dennis sure showed them on that one because I think that's what we were all.
He got the guy to fucking chain himself to the tree so he could fuck his girlfriend, which they did. And then at the end, the guy, like, is still on the tree, and he's like,
and they're just going to run him over anyway.
Just tear this tree down.
No, he's fine. You know, Dennis, they made a greater point. Not only are they a bunch of phony trust fund kids or whatever, that have sort of this vitriolic instinct because as much as they're like trying to get away from how their parents are, they still like read them, you know, chapters from The Art of the Deal before bed every night or whatever, and like, you know, be really mean to like service people in front of them, so you can tell they have that spittle in them a little bit where they're like, well, man, this is kind of how it is. It's like, okay, is this the fucking Spawn Ranch now? I thought you guys were supposed to be nice. It was a Manson family reference. Oh. That's where they lived. They show it on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, an excellent movie. Where a guy pops Brad Pitt's tire, and then Brad Pitt beats the ever-loving shit out of him and makes him change his tire and then drives away. Good part of that movie. Movie's 3 hours long. I didn't give away anything, really. But anyhow, like, in that episode of Always Sunny, what Dennis does is sort of like a greater illustration, I think anyway, of how you never really want to believe in things, or like a big corporation will convince you to chain yourself to a tree while they fuck your girlfriend. like really, it's just kind of like, well, you want to see, like, you don't want to do anything with these companies, right? But this one donates something. Or like, let's go the opposite way. It's like, well, Chick-fil-A is a Christian company, so you want to give us your money. Like, that's goddamn right we do. There's no such thing as a Christian corporation. Okay, like, Jesus wasn't worried about shareholders. Like, none of that stuff actually pans out in reality when you start dealing with, like, a giant chain restaurant or, like, Walmart or something. It's like, we're a family company. It's like, well, people generally come from families, and that's who owns this company, so in that sense, yes. But in every other sense, no. And it's like, and I don't know, I'm guessing because Always Sunny is very deftly written and biting under the surface sometimes, or a lot of times, or whatever. I kind of do feel like it's just more than just sticking it to the hippies and showing it to the trust fund kids. They're also like having this weird set of like arbitrary ideals that you've used to define yourself as better than everyone else or whatever will come back and fuck you. Like, because someone will go, like Dennis did, he's like, yeah, and here's what we should do, man. It's like, no, see, our Oreos are rainbow. So, like, this fucking poisonous company that uses slave labor is, like, you know, obviously a good thing now that you should allow something. Like, that's right, I'll fight to the death for Oreo. Even though they probably just have, like, real Keebler elves, like Oompa Loompas chained in a basement somewhere, like, making them with a fucking gun in their back, like in Hollywood, Cambodia, or Holiday, Cambodia.
No, John, like, Keebler's a different company.
I don't care who makes Oreos. Honestly, no, they're not. It's Nabisco. And they're owned by, like, Mars.
They do have the...
There's, like, 5 companies on Earth, and, like, one of them is the one that deals with cookies and chocolate and food. So it's like, if you're like, oh, no, yeah, it's not the people that make Oreos don't have the Keebler elves chained in a sweat lodge. It's like, no, that's somebody else that's owned by... Well, yeah, because that was the hilarious thing.
There also is a sweatshop episode in Always Sunny.
A lot of good men died in that sweatshop, yeah. Well, yeah, like when everyone flipped out about Budweiser, it's like, we're going to go buy this other beer instead that they also own, like, entirely.
Yeah. Anheuser-Busch owns, like...
all the beer.
All the beer.
Like, so, you would have to start going... You know what never quite came from all that stuff? The Bud Light, trans influencer thing, and I made a funny joke about how it's not like it was on the Super Bowl. Then I described what I would like to see happen on the Super Bowl. But, like, I'll probably do that one again someday. To lose, like, a contest at Acme or something next summer.
Cool.
But, like, nobody... The only way to go, I'm going to boycott this for real, as a big fat idiot, would be to probably just start drinking, like, local craft microbrew, you know, because there's things, and not everywhere can you even really do that. You can do it here for fucking sure. Like, you can go drink a Fulton Lonely Blonde, or Surly is completely independent, and they all have all kinds of great beers and stuff, but here's the thing. You hate those. Like, not a few years ago, 10 years ago, in the early days of the angry fucking idiot Facebook meme, people be like, oh, you're gonna just go to... What's so wrong? Remember when they bitched about how millennials were, like, killing Applebee's because they only wanted locally sourced farm-to-table meat that actually wasn't microwaved and tastes good? Like, and, you know, that's what they want to spend their money on because they're entitled or something. And they bitch a lot about, like, craft local beers and stuff. And they're like, I'm just going to have my good old-fashioned piss in a can. And he's like, you can go drink your fucking stupid, like, interesting beer for, like, an extra $1 or whatever. Like... Whatever. It was like this whole thing that everyone, you know, conveniently forgets about when this happens. It's almost like they knew better. It's like no one piped up and was like, just start drinking local beer or whatever. It's like they didn't get that far. They just went, I drink another beer made by the same company I'm boycotting, and I'm too goddamn stupid to understand what anyone's talking about, and now we're over this, and who gives a shit? Budweiser stock dipped for half a second, so it's like, see, proves that you can't do things. Or whatever. But no one ever was like, No one ever had the fun conversation of watching a bunch of just, like, sad old rednecks start enjoying, like, a Surly coffee bender or something, and then be like, well, maybe there's... Like, we come this close to understanding sometimes, I guess. And it's like... It is like, you know, when you put, like, soap and water and all the pepper on the surface tension disappears, like Mr. Wizard showed us. It's never far enough to steer anybody into accidentally going the right way. Which is fascinating. Because I think that somehow indicates the level of which that everything is propagandized and all of the outcomes are pretty much, like, factored in. As someone who wrote a very interesting song in 2001 once said, counterculture accounted for, rebel factors factored in. Like, it's all just... Like, we're gonna get mad about this, but we're not gonna go back on our word and start drinking, like, an IPA that was made down the street or whatever. Even though it's not giving $1 to Anheuser-Busch, like, except for the fact that maybe the equipment they're using is being sold. Anheuser-Busch probably owns, like, a huge, like, they're probably the best place to get beer making equipment from or something like that, because I've found out that that's one of the ways in which that, you know, and everything ends up being kind of like one company that's part of it. Like, even where I work for does that. Like, the thing that makes the most money where I work for is, like, the lesser known side of it, where we actually make display cases for, like, other smoke shops and stuff. Like, every last thing you would ever need to set up an entire store. So it's like, even...
That makes me think of Ragstock, how, like, a lot of their money came from, like, that... you know, the thing in the back room of the downtown location... Mm-hmm. It just had all the, like, fucking rags, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sort of, but what's... They were supplying those to other...
Fuck. I don't know.
Okay. That's fair.
No, I thought the point was clear, but apparently it wasn't, and it's just not worth going into.
Well, okay. What I'm saying is... A lot of companies where you go, oh, that company sells this thing. But the really big ones sell, like, they own a bunch of littler companies that all sell the other things. You're like, oh, I'm buying from a different one. Well, no, you're not. But even if you're buying from, like, a local thing, it's possible that big thing is supplying the local thing with, like, all of their, like, beer-making equipment or whatever, because they probably own another business that, since they've built up all their own infrastructure, they also sell that infrastructure to smaller things. And so, like, Surly might be using... brewing vats and whatever from, like, oh, well, it's from, like, Anderson Distilling Co. or whatever. It's, like, a subsidiary of Anheuser-Busch. Like,
yeah,
that's, like, a whole... That was the point I was making, that even though my joke about getting the people making fun of everyone in their craft beers to start drinking craft beer because they hate gay people so much that they'll just go back on other stuff that they thought they used to care about for no reason because they're just so easy. Like, they're like a human... Their brain is like a soccer ball, just getting kicked around by, like... the two teams are fighting each other, right? Like two big corporations. Well, we need them to think this, we need them to think that, and it's like... sometimes it gets knocked around a little bit, but they're all playing soccer, so it goes into one net or the other. Everybody eventually makes money. It's fine, but it's like Brazil versus Portugal or whatever. It's like, and then you're fucking just extremely propagandized little soccer ball brains is going all over that field. Over here, woo.
And how can we turn that into a conversation about this festival?
Which one?
Burning Man?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if we said that and then just started, like, singing? Well, because Burning Man is dead. Because whatever it was, and we didn't get around to looking at how long it's been around. It's been a long, long time. Like, I don't know. I think some of the people that were at the original ones or founded the original ones are probably still going. But I think it's just become this thing that's like everything else, where it's so big that it's meaningless. I've pointed this out before, where it's like, I always use the zombie pub crawl as an example. It was such a perfect one. Such a perfect example of something that was kind of interesting, because it was local to here. And people dressed up as zombies, and they really tried, and they went to different bars, and they're like, bah! And then it became a thing where it's happening every year, and more people are doing it, and the bars are kind of expecting it. Okay, still a bit of a thing. And eventually, it just becomes traffic. Like, eventually, it's just like everyone in the world puts a little bit of blood on a white shirt, and they just all go out, and it's like St. Patrick's Day or something. It's just like this big fucking bohunk idiot in the street barf festival thing. And it's no fun anymore. And, like, a lot of things like that happen where, and it's like, whether it was good in the beginning, a lot of it is fun. Like, I even would put, like, Pride kind of up there with that, where it's like, it stands for something good. But I used to be able to, like, go, like, like the garage would have, like, a little booth at it, and I could, like, just park and then, like, walk over to where it was and be like, oh, yeah, we're helping, and, like, whatever, because we're a safe space, and blah, 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 blah. And now it's just this thing where it's like, well, don't go anywhere near downtown, I guess, today, and it's just like, people are just in the street for whatever they're in the street, and a lot of, no one cares about whatever it was about anymore. And I think Burning Man has become like that, where it's like, I'm sure it was this real interesting thing.
It actually originated on June 22nd of 1986, and it was on Baker Beach in San Francisco. And they did not move it until 1991.
Okay, so it was around for a few years, and then it went 91.
91, they moved it to near Reno-ish.
Yeah,
I think
Reno's cool.
Yeah,
we went there once.
I've been there a couple times.
We drove. I was there once, and we drove there. I was telling that story at work, by the way, that, like, driving fucking hallucinating.
I don't know. I swear to God, we saw a giant, and I will not.
We saw a shadow giant in the mountains of Nevada. I also saw.
Giant.
I promise you, I saw a couple of like the classic, not classic UFOs as in a flying saucer, but when you see what seems like a satellite or a meteor and it just takes like a sharp right turn and goes really fast. Mm-hmm. Right exactly where we found out later that they definitely would have been. Like, we're just driving like, okay, well, that's interesting. We're also kind of seeing things. Because, again, we drove from here to Reno straight, taking turns in my 96 Saturn that we drove across the Alkali Salt Flats in Utah. And I got it up to like $1.15 or something, which is pretty fucking fast for that car. But you can see to the horizon in every direction. There's cops.
That is a really great place.
Or anything. It was super cool. You see all these like spin outs because like when you drove into the salt, it would leave tire tracks, and you could tell like people had either gone driving way out into the middle of nowhere because it's just flat.
Yeah. Or
there's ones that are all loopy, so they clearly went like ultra fast in some car they couldn't control, and like that would be a fun place to drive like a controllable.
But it would be terrible to get stuck in a rainstorm.
Oh, yeah, there would be completely awful. Also, the amount of methamphetamines we were doing towards the end of that, like, I remember driving through Utah and feeling like it took about 10 minutes, which, that's not true. That state's like the size of Minnesota and Wisconsin put together.
That was a very long drive, and I remember towards the end we had to switch drivers every 10 minutes.
Yep, that was hell.
We kept falling asleep. It was hell.
Well, because I was angry by then. Experiences kind of hadn't in a while, but I was like in the last couple of weeks, like there was like a day where I kind of like woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, oh, I can't fall back to sleep. So I just kind of got up. And I realized I got maybe 6 hours. I was like, okay. And I woke up and I was plugging my Access Virus synth module into the Kurzweil piano that I have in the, not my studio, but in the fireplace room upstairs. And side note, that Kurzweil, I'm finding out more and more that there might only be one of those. And it's
pretty cool.
Right up there. Like, David was looking through, like, reverb.net, or the thing you buy, like, gear from, and he was like, not only are there not one, or the non-wood paneled one anywhere, he's like, they have no record of ever selling a Mark 10W anywhere. And the only other thing that makes it
cool.
Real spooky is the one that wasn't the wood paneled one, that apparently, like, maybe it was a little easier to find. We've only ever seen one of those online, and it looked like it was in a house fire. And it was going for $16,000, and it sold in like a half an hour. It disappeared immediately. They're like, oh. So when Ray Kurzweil dies, I'm wondering if his kids are going to come looking for that thing, and they ain't getting it. They could drop an M-bomb, and I might not budge. I'm like, like, this belongs in a museum, and my house is a museum. You really ought to see it. Yeah. But anyway, I couldn't sleep. So the point of that is that later that night, I was still kind of up, and I almost re-experienced a little of that feeling where you're switching drivers, where you're so tired it makes you mad. Like, and I understand if you're at work and you're tired and you want to go home, you're mad. Like, that's like a simple feeling. But I was like on the couch watching TV, and I was just like, ugh! Like, I was so angry that I was awake. It's like
fussy.
I was fussy. It was like being 3.
Yeah.
You're just mad that you're just so tired that you're angry. You're sitting there and you kind of want to keep watching, like, this fucking YouTube video about, like...
Fussy is the worst fucking feeling.
I hate it.
Let me tell you. Like...
My heart goes out to those kids that are fussy, whose parents drag to that bar I'm trying to enjoy.
Oh.
Like, those kids are so tired that it hurts, and you bring them here?
I've been fussy many times in my life. I'm fussy at least a couple days out of the month. So... I really know... I hate that feeling, and it drives me insane.
Smithers, I'm feeling fussy. Yeah. I was making such a fuss, too. I was just sitting there like,
you just kind of like, you just want to like kick and just, but not, because kicking is annoying somehow.
Yeah, and
your own voice annoys you, and the sounds of the
house. Well,
that
couch up there is like really comfortable, and like Alexis has like a unnatural relationship with, like, she can sleep on that couch like any time of day, anything. She sleeps on it better than the bed. Some reason I kind of can't. So I was falling asleep on it, and it was just, it was upsetting me the way I felt. I was just like, I got comfortable and everything, and I just couldn't. And it was making me so mad. And so I like turned the TV off, and I like shuffled upstairs and laid in real bed and just angrily fell asleep. I've been fussy on tour a lot. And I bet I'd be pretty fussy at Burning Man right now. Like, I just want to sleep.
I don't want to even think about it, because, wow, like, if you... Burning Man would be way different than how we were on Harry Connick Jr. night.
Yeah, well,
That's the worst I've ever seen you, by the way.
No, it was, which is impressive, because you've seen a lot. Although there's some stuff you haven't seen.
Damn, John, calm down.
No. I wasn't even tired. I was just so mad after going to the Renaissance Festival, and it's just like the only thing they had there is the Renaissance Festival actually can sell hard liquor now. So
I made a joke to someone, I can't remember who it was, if it was like Derek or somebody I don't know very well, maybe it was my TMS tech, was like, don't go to Renaissance Festival. It nearly ended my friend's marriage.
It nearly ended the lives of some people around me at the Renaissance Festival. Like,
I know it didn't nearly end your guys' marriage, but I made the joke of like, just because it was so bad.
I would have loved that weekend, because that weekend would have been a perfect weekend without all that Renaissance Festival garbage, because, like, again, I was say, it took like 2 hours, like, after getting to the city it was in, to sit in traffic. Like, it was a mess. I guess the state has, like, stepped in and been like, you're screwing up, like, semi-routes and things. Like, you have to stop
Well, they did something different this year, so it actually might work better. I don't know.
I don't fucking know, but
I'm never gonna find out because I just don't want to go be sticky and get stung by bees and walk in the same dusty circle over and over.
Well, there's nothing quite like waiting for 2.5 hours in the car, like to go what would normally take 18 minutes from my driveway, like on any given day, even a busy day, like to go. Hey, do you want to look at, like, swords and, like, things? And I'm like, oh, do you mean the backs of a million other people's heads? Because that's all we're actually going to do. Like, yeah, I just hit the gas on drinking so hard. And then like,
I hate all festivals, but I hate all things.
You hate everything. I feel like it's a little bit more special when I say that I hate the Renaissance Festival and other things, because it's like, there's things that I do like, whereas you don't have things like that. So it's a little bit more like, well, John likes. Someone actually asked me if I would
name one.
I get offered every once in a while to like play bass or keyboards in something that's going to play a couple of shows, and I'm just like, I don't want to do. Some of the things are like closer to me, and even I have such a good excuse then because it's like I've quit music so hard, but like I make it. I just don't want to go play it anywhere. And like you know, when I'm close to the people, I can kind of be like, look, I kind of hate doing this, and like we're friends, and I feel like that would jeopardize that if I were to like. I really don't want to like do that to you, and I mean I'm just not into it, and it's like all that or whatever. But there's someone who just knows of me and is like, hey, it would be really fun to do this. I kind of have to give them a whole like sometimes I'll make a joke, you know, I'll be like, look, I'm married. And all the cocaine has fentanyl in it, so why the fuck would I go on tour? Like, there's nothing out there for me anymore. With the music, I can do that in my basement. I don't give a shit. And like,
that's a really good point, John.
Well, it is, and it's just like I don't like it. I get very fussy on tour. Like, I always end up just past tired, like hurting my back. It's also I have a thing called a job. See, like, I actually have like made a pretty good amount of my own money, but by doing things like all the time. Like, I don't. Some people, I think, still occasionally look at me and go like, John's life is so interesting, someone else must have been funded it. And that person is called all the people I've worked for over the years, not my, you know, anyone I'm related to or anything like that. So it's like, I can't just drop everything for a month. Like, yeah, my job's pretty cool, and I could maybe hang on to it and kind of do it remote from a tour bus. But that sounds like terrible also. Like, I don't really want to be on a laptop in my bunk while I'm like hungover and possibly dying of a fentanyl overdose. Like, I'm not that interested in that life. So I have to give everybody this whole story, and it's like, the other thing too is though, it's like, it's not like there's that much money involved. Like, you know, there's like a few people who, you know, I'm you know, and he was on the podcast a little while ago, but it's like I'm writing a record and producing magic noises for Peter Pepper, and even that was kind of like, hey man, like maybe I'll do like one, we're buddies and all, but like I don't have time, whatever. And he's like, well, I'll give you X amount of dollars per song, and it's like, well, okay, but I'm not going on tour. And, blah, blah, blah. And then later he'll probably be like, I bought us on tour with Combi Christ. Like, that might be kind of fun. Like, I don't know. But I always also make that joke. It's like if someone was like, do you want to like open for 9 Inch Nails or something? I'd be like, I'd have to think about it. Like, I don't know. It sounds great, but it would just end up not liking them anymore.
Seriously,
like,
there's something that changes about like after you turn 40. It's just like, it's just not worth it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that, but it's like if I had never gone on tour, I'd say it would all sound a lot more exciting. But I know everything that it is, and even when it's good, you end up fussy. Like, you end up not sleeping enough, and then, like, all of that just, like I can feel that feeling of, like, going, we don't have to crash here. We can drive home from, like, the middle of Wisconsin after the show at 2 a.m, and we'll be fine. And that feeling you feel at like 7 a.m. when you're rolling up, when you just want to die and you still know that you have to like drag a few pieces of equipment in the house. It's like that feeling has a certain feeling inside my chest that I can when I talk about it, I start to feel it. You know, it's like when you start remembering the time you drank sour milk, you're kind of like you can taste it. That's what it's like. But in here, in my heart, like, yeah, and which probably also is. That sleep deprivation was going to give you goddamn dementia earlier in life and does bad things to your heart. And it's like, at this point, I kind of like my life, so a lot of what I do, aside from the booze, is sort of in the name of sticking around to enjoy it longer. I will be... I have the one ring, though I don't look it. I'll be 43 tomorrow. It's my 111th birthday.
Happy birthday, John.
Thank you. Somewhere there is a painting of me aging horribly.
Is there anything you need to say about festivals or looks or anything before we get to Dear Asshole?
You know, I don't begrudge anybody for, like, going to their thing. Like, when I hate on things, like, people take it too personally when I find everything about them disgusting. Like, they'll always, like, come in the comments and be like, well, it seems like you kind of have this. I'm like, yeah, well, like, I am a stand-up comedian, and I've always been a weird asshole just in, like, a band. Like,
it's like I'm kind of a dick.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of a dick, but I'm not wrong either. But it's like, here's the thing. Even if you're listening to me because you like me, it doesn't matter what I think. Like, I can go like, you know, if you eat pineapple pizza, I think someone should just beat you with aluminum baseball bats until you're dead. And you'd be like, that's a terrible thing. I'm like, yeah, but okay, here's the difference. I'm not, when I see someone eating a pineapple pizza, I mind my own business, and I certainly don't blow a whistle and have German shepherds and guys in uniforms beat you with baseball bats. Like, that doesn't really happen. I can just go, here's what I think. And some people will be like, well, maybe you're influential. It's like, if someone is just sitting and they get through an hour of this podcast, and then they get to me going like, I think anyone who likes pineapple on pizza should be beaten to death. And then they go beat someone to death. They were about to kill someone anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like, I'm not dodging my responsibility. I have none. Like, I'm saying things because I don't have anything constructive to fucking offer you, okay? Like, I'm not a hot chick. I'm not a trust fund kid that's going to sit there trying to convince you that you can remodel a house by yourself while also holding down a 50-hour-a-week job like some kind of asshole. Like, I'm not going to be like, you know, oh, here's, you know, I'm not making anything actually useful. Like, here's how you put the taillights in a Prius. Like, that's already out there. Whatever. But I still want attention even though I'm completely worthless. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shit all over everything that some people like so they get mad about it. Leave it in the comments and rage share it because I understand how fucking clickbait works just well enough to get the amount of attention I need to keep doing this every week.
And I love shitting on everything too because I just have the worst attitude.
Yep, Meredith is helping me.
So therefore, it's great to come on the podcast and be the co-host at times. But I just shit on your happiness, I guess. Because fuck you.
And that's the thing.
I don't know.
How dare you be happy? And but it's like I'm not jealous. I don't want what you have. I think you do deserve to be like very happy, but I'm allowed to just talk shit about everything because some people think it's funny.
What if it makes me happy?
Oh no!
Shit on your world.
You should get happy doing something like helping people or whatever, like, or I don't know, that someone sitting on their fucking couch eating Cheetos right now is sitting there saying, who's never helped anyone in their life, but at least they've never talked shit on the internet, except in a bunch of comments about women's weight on like Reddit or something that they didn't think anyone would find or whatever. But like, yeah, everyone is just terrible and full of shit. And if you're listening to what I'm saying, like right now, let's see, we already did that one. I know that. I'm not even like, I love when people go like, well, you're justifying that you're not a bad person. No, I'm not. I am a bad person. I'm just telling you that that's fine. Like, there's no reason for you to get all upset about it. And maybe you could start your own podcast about how much John Wheeler is a bad person, but at least get it straight. I know that I am. And it's fine. But you know what? I've never had anyone attacked by German Shepherds for eating the wrong kind of pizza. I just like to complain. And this is the best way for me to do that. And if you don't like it, you can eat a dick. All right. If you don't like it, you can sit and listen to me read a page out of Dear Asshole. We already know what this is by now. Go watch another episode, as a matter of fact. Like, if from now on, when I don't explain this, let's say you're just watching the newest one because I'm talking shit about Burning Man and Wooks and everything you care about because you're stupid. Like, and you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna, whatever. Yeah, like, but I don't know what he was doing with that book at the end. Well, go watch more of them. You won't be giving me any money. Don't worry about that. This is not monetized yet. This is just a thing that I have to do because I'm not in bands anymore. And I kind of like doing stand-up, but that's like 5 minutes at a time every other week or two. So, you know. And then how often do I get to hang out with my friend Meredith? So, Dear Asshole Clean Freak, what the hell is wrong with you? Have all those pledge fumes finally gone to your head?
Oh.
Speaking of, whoever wrote Big Top Pee-wee might have wrote this book, which is Paul Rubens.
Oh.
That's why this came into my possession. This is the last will and testament under the nom de plume of Jillian and Michelle Madison. Pee-wee would make that up. Side Jillian and Michelle Madison. We've built a network of well-connected pop culture websites and podcasts, which currently receive over 40 million page views per month.
What are they called?
I don't know. That they get 40 million page views per month, and they've been featured on thousands of professional sites and blogs.
Which ones?
It's like a Cinco ad. Like, all right.
Keep going.
It's one thing to be neat and tidy, but you've taken it way too far. Well, I didn't gather that from the title, but okay. Your kitchen is sparkling, and if your bathroom gets any more sterile, surgeons could start using it as an operating room. You know they're not going to make one meth joke in here? I haven't finished reading but half the page, and I already know they never take the route that's actually funny, because it's a little blue or dirty or like whatever. It's like you're that commercial where she's just cleaning her bathroom and picking bugs out of her skin. But she's on meth, and it's to teach you to either not do meth or to clean your bathroom, and I'm not sure which. So put down the cleaning bucket and step away from the Swiffer. Those must have just been invented when this came out. And stop shooting me looks of death because the tip of my shoe accidentally touched the edge of the coffee table. Who are you friends with, you weird people? For the record, the only person who should be that obsessed with removing fingerprints is a forensic analyst. Last I checked, you didn't work in CSI, so lighten up a little. And then it says onward and upward because they didn't know what to put there.
Yeah, wow, this one was really lame.
I didn't even think of that many dumb things to yell about it.
Because it was that dumb and boring.
This was the Big Top Pee-wee of, and that's not this episode, it'll be the next one that you people see. But I'm going to use Big Top Pee-wee as a metric for how aimless and boring something is. Anyway, P.S. You missed a spot. Fuckers. Anyway, leave a comment if you know. Look, I'm a busy man, and I just want you to someone find me some evidence that proves that Wook is based off of Wookiee foot.
How about isn't based off?
No, it's easy to prove that it's not. You just be like, it's actually just from an internet chat room. Like, I don't know. Like, you can prove that all day. Because the truth is out there, Scully. Like, we are going to, I don't know. Like, I'm a big PR propagandist guy. Like, I'm actually reading one of Bernays' lesser-known books on Kindle, like, right now. So he made propaganda, but he made this other one called, I forget the title, because when you have a Kindle, you can't just flip the cover closed and look at whatever it was called. But you just go, hey, it's another book by Edward Bernays, and I have this free grace period because I signed up with Amazon where I get certain books just for free for 3 months. So I'm trying to read through them as much as I can. And I'm not renewing it because I don't read that much, but I don't know. Anyway, I think Wook being disconnected from Wookieefoot is Wookieefoot propaganda.
The Reverend John Wheeler podcast takes zero responsibility for the words, actions, or ideas of its host, guests, or listeners. Though the people on the screen may at times be speaking directly to you and may occasionally give you direct calls to action, neither Reverend John nor the Alchemical Cocktail Lounge are under any moral or legal obligation to answer for the potentially disastrous repercussions that may arise if you are stupid enough to actually follow the orders of a raving lunatic. Think for yourself and do whatever you want because you're on your own. If anyone ever tries to sue this podcast, black SUVs will converge on your location in the darkness of night and you will never be seen again. Remember to like and subscribe.